Wakey, wakey, hands off, Snakey. Yeah, you thought you were sneaking one by us, didn't you? Yeah, well, I didn't get the girl of my dreams last night, and I drank too much, so I figured I'd whack one off real quick Saturday morning without anybody noticing with my little roll of toilet paper by the bed. Ha!
Busted.
We've all been there. We all know the schemes, the plans, the ways you can try to get around, embarrassing yourself on a Saturday morning just like this when you're trying to nurse your hangover, your disappointment. But that's what your Uncle Dave and I are here for.
That's right.
It's the Saturday morning hangover cure, kids. It is Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition.
Your politically incorrect pop culture commentary.
Dropping here on September the 7th, 2024. Of course, the best in music, TV and streaming, and movies. And we have got a doozy for you this week. Sammy Hagar live in concert in Noblesville, Indiana, along with our review of a long-awaited movie that we have been wanting to watch for months and months and months. Finally, the extended cut of The Fall Guy. But first, we start off with what, Dave?
Music, baby. It's all about the rock and roll.
The rock gods, Eddie Van Halen, wherever he is, did not shine on us.
No.
Last Friday night. Because
weather was an issue.
Yes, and of course it had to be this show. It had to be this fucking show. The one I've been waiting for months and months and months.
This was the crown jewel of the summer.
The Van Halen tribute tour with Joe Satriani playing his ass off, mimicking Eddie Van Halen every chance he could. 95% of the time, perfection.
Yes, did very, very well.
So here's the night, kids. Here is the night. This was, of course, August the 30th, 2024. Deer Creek, as we like to call it, Ruoff Music Center, Noblesville, Indiana.
Started 10 minutes early.
And we were wondering.
Loverboy.
We were wondering.
We knew weather could possibly be a factor.
So everything started early. Loverboy was fine. You know, they're solid. I personally, Loverboy's awesome. In concert, they're competent, they're solid, but they play the same set list basically every show. They're not mixing anything up. So, and they're fine. I'm not trying to rip on them.
No, they're a good opening act.
I'm more upset with the dipshit woman a couple rows up from us who decided I was going to dance kabuki during every fucking Loverboy song.
Yeah, the same.
Why don't we get the one person who wants to stand up through the entire set for Loverboy?
Maybe that's what she was there for. We don't know.
Fingers to the air, fingers.
Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, she had no rhythm.
No. And of course, the
Four
guy,
moves.
the dipshit husband or boyfriend wouldn't tell her, do you look behind you? Do you see anybody else standing up? You're pissing people off behind you.
Read the room. Read the room.
So she ruined a couple songs. But then, yes, finally, Sammy, Mikey, Kenny, and Joe came out. And it was glorious.
It was beautiful.
Because the first thing we got, hello, baby! Of course, the opening song from 5150, Good Enough. And then we thought this is going to be a tremendous rock and roll ride, which it was, but once we got to Pound Cake, Run Around, There's Only One Way to Rock, and then Judgment Day, ironically, Judgment Day.
And then the lightning came, and we had to say, oh, Ruoff had to make the announcement, weather is approaching. If you're on the lawn, please seek shelter in your cars. You will be allowed back into the venue. We'll resume as soon as it's safe. Very few people from the lawn left.
No, no, very few people overall left.
Yeah, Sammy stayed on stage. He goes, well, if we can't play, I'm just going to stand out here and talk with you people and tell you stories. And he did. He was out there for about 5 minutes, and they finally cut his mic to make him get off stage to try to encourage people to seek shelter. There was a little bit of lightning, a little bit of thunder, no rain during this little bit.
Nope. About a 40-minute delay total. And then luckily that cell passed.
Yep.
And we got back into it with Panama.
Great way to come back into it.
Yep.
Ugh.
And then 5150. I was in heaven. My favorite Van Halen song, 5150, and they killed it. Killed it.
Out of the park. Then Summer Nights, Ain't Talking About Love.
Sung by, of course, Mikey.
Yep. Top of the World. Best of both worlds.
Second favorite Van Halen song.
Very
which
well.
I always
find
God. Ridiculous in my mind that even though I am a staunch and firm 100% fan of the David Lee Roth era, much more than the Sammy Hagar era, my two favorite songs are both Sammy songs.
Yep, there
off
you go.
5150.
Then they let Joe Satriani do his Satch Boogie cover. Let him just shred away. Awesome job.
Yep. And then we got what I thought was one of the highlights of the night, Deep Cut from
God.
Balance. First song off of Balance, The Seventh Seal.
Oh, that was so good.
Unbelievable song. I mean, just ridiculously cool in concert. I told you, I don't think I've ever seen that one, even though I saw Van Halen with Sammy Hagar twice. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw that one live in concert. And then, of course, we get Right Now. Why Can't This Be Love? And then this was, to me, sorry, I am not a fan of Eagles Fly.
No, it's...
That would have been my bathroom song. If I had to go.
Yeah, if you would have had to go. But he played that, dedicated it to the Botham family, because Jason Bonham was supposed to be on drums, had to go back to England for a family emergency.
Right, that's why we've got Kenny Aronoff, yep, who did a great job. Unbelievable job. And then that's when the guy came out from backstage and whispered in Sammy's ear, and we all booed.
And Sammy's like, all right, more weather coming in. And during the last few songs, you could see the lightning bolts striking off to the west in the distance behind the stage. And we all knew it was coming. And long about this point, it's starting to rain. You can see it starting to come in on the tents and everything.
And Sammy says, well, if we gotta stop again, we're sure as hell getting this song in.
Yep, we can't come to Indy and not play this. So went in with I Can't Drive 55. And then...
him and Mikey screwing around on stage because they didn't want to leave, doing a little a cappella minute or so of Cabo Wabo. So that was the end of the show. We figured it was going to be, they said if you want to stick around, you could. We pretty much knew. We got an hour and 45 minutes, but we had heard that we were supposedly going to get over 2 hours. And looking at old set lists, the 4 songs we did not get were Mas Tequila, Heavy Metal. That one hurt.
That hurt.
I would have loved to have heard Heavy Metal. Medley of Space Station number 5 from the old Montrose years. Bigfoot from Chickenfoot. And then Jump, of course. Van Halen. And then really could care less about the last song. Terrible selection, by the way.
Yeah, why would you close out When It's Love? Makes zero sense.
Now, we can only really judge what we saw. and which was very impressive.
Yeah.
But now, let me ask you something. Based on what was left, shocking to me. Shocking. Now, I will say a positive note in that I think Sammy wanted to go more rockin',
Yeah.
except for the very last song. Again, I don't understand. Really, it seems like a wart on a princess's ass. Why you would play When It's Love when you have been playing all the heavier stuff
Yeah,
from
you've
Van
been
Halen
rocking
the whole
it out
night.
all night long.
Notice what was left out. No Dreams, right?
Right.
No Finish What You Started, which blows my mind.
Yeah, that he wouldn't have played that one.
Right. So I think he was trying to go heavier. I do think he was trying to go heavier.
Yeah, an opportunity to let Joe play.
Would have loved to have seen a full show, especially heavy metal. And just to hear a little bit of that chicken foot, hear Bigfoot. Oh.
Because pretty much with Aronoff there filling in, he filled in for Chickenfoot. So you basically had Chickenfoot on stage.
Right. You did. I would have been fine without hearing Moss Tequila again. I like the song, but
it didn't. It should not have been in that one.
Right. But just a very interesting mix. I appreciate the fact he was going harder. Again, Seventh Seal, Judgment Day, awesome deep tracks.
So good
to bring in. So this is where it gets tricky. How do you judge this? How do you judge the night? Do you judge it with the disappointment? Do you judge it with the awesome hour and 45 minutes we got versus the 2 hours and 10 minutes we were supposed to get?
I have to take it down a little bit for the weather.
Yeah.
But I'm giving it a solid 3.5.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where I am, too. And I agree with you. Here's my problem with anything remotely connected to Van Halen. Because you and I ventured out, not once, not twice, but 3 times when David Lee Roth came back in the fold.
Yes.
And I know the 3rd time sucked. Bad seats, bad sound, bad venue at Tinley Park in Chicago.
Yeah.
But the first 2 times when it was just you and me, we went to the United Center and the Allstate Arena.
Yeah.
Great shows. Unbelievable shows.
Fantastic.
I find myself always with Van Halen stuff. You know, we always talk about this. You and I have gone to see so many shows together. 100 plus, easily.
Easy.
Do you ever hear me mention one of the Van Halen shows as one of my favorite shows of all time?
No.
I always mention ELO.
Bob Seger.
Yep. I can't, it's too hard for me to judge them. Those songs, that era, that music is so hard for me to judge. I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
You were sitting next to me. Seeing Van Halen with David Lee Roth was like
it's
an otherworldly experience for me. But I think it overwhelms me every time to the point where I can't fairly judge. So
I can see that. And then Dave usually does something stupid.
Like show videos of his dogs?
Yes.
But same thing with this. Now, the weather did not help.
No.
And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I can look at this better as a broken but beautiful night where I got all my Van Halen songs that I wanted that he was going to play.
And bonus that you never get to hear normally.
Yeah. Hearing Judgment Day, hearing the Seventh Seal, ridiculous. Awesome stuff. And again, Joe Satriani, there were 2 songs. I think I told you. 2 songs
that weren't
where
quite...
I didn't think he quite lived up to Eddie.
Yeah.
Good Enough was, I did not like the opening song. I did not think he played Eddie's part good enough on
Good
Enough.
It just wasn't good enough.
And I'm not trying to insult him. He did an ungodly, phenomenal job.
Yeah, you're trying to replicate a legend.
And he did better than anybody else.
Yeah.
Anybody else. There's no way Joe Satriani, nobody's beating him.
No.
In terms of what he did that night. Tour's over now. Ended, I believe, last Saturday night.
Yes, we got the second to last show.
I'm with you. 3.5. 3.5 frenzies. But yeah, I get melancholy about this shit. I do.
I know you do.
I do. And I can't judge it fairly. Foo Fighters at Market Square Arena.
That was
that's one of the best I've ever seen.
The Skin and Bones tour where they dropped the second stage close to us.
That's top three. That's top three. That show was unbelievable.
That was fan-freaking-tastic.
But again, I know when you and I walked into the Allstate Arena that first time, when Dave was back, and they had the stage, the S kind of stage. Remember that?
Yeah, as it comes down and snakes and...
I was in heaven. I know I was. There was no way in hell I would... But I can't judge a moment like that. And that's how I felt about this. Hearing 5150, hearing Best of Both Worlds with Joe Satriani on guitar, the closest we're ever going to get again to Eddie Van Halen. It's just not fair for me to judge it. I will always hold it in my rock and roll heart in a special place.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
There you go.
I don't know if I'm going to hold Motley Crue's version of Fight for Your Right in a special place in my heart.
Oh, my God.
As we move on to our 2 songs of the week that we're going to review.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Why?
Because this is what bands do now. They do remakes. They do cover songs.
And not very well.
Now, I didn't like this, but I think you absolutely hated it.
I have disdain for this one.
Yeah, there are a couple things I took away from it that I mildly enjoyed, but not in any sense could I recommend it.
No, I cannot recommend listening to this at all.
Of course, this is the classic Beastie Boys song from the 80s.
Yeah, and then they'll just say we're jealous because they're the Motley Boys.
Yeah.
Whatever. Lame. It was a bad bar band rendition.
I will give it... Again, I can't recommend it, so you know it's not going higher than 2.5. I'll give it 2. 2 frenzies.
Yeah, I can't give it more than 1.5.
Yeah. See, I kind of like the Motley Boys thing. I think I give them credit for that.
I'll give them credit for that, but no. It's no.
I thought the guitar, John Five's guitar, they did in the guitar sense make it their own.
Yeah, they sped it up.
The heavy crew guitar in there did kind of lay claim to the song as their own.
They sped it up.
But there's nothing.
There's nothing spectacular.
No, otherwise, no.
And of course, the vocals are blah.
Yeah, that's a discussion for another time when we have to get into how bad Vince Neil is and how he should just call it quits.
Yeah, he needs to just go bye-bye.
I think Motley Crue replaced the wrong person.
Yes, they did.
And who should be singing for Motley Crue, Dave?
Sebastian Bach.
There you go. All right, the other cover song / new song we have for you this week is War Machine from Bryan Adams. Of course, this is one of 2 songs that he is releasing off his new record label, Bad Records. We have already reviewed Rock and Roll Hell.
Yep.
Which I liked a lot. War Machine, a little bit more legendary for Kiss. They've got a little bit more of their stamp on this.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a little bit tougher for Bryan Adams to overcome the legacy of this song that he wrote for Kiss.
He did not do a bad rendition of it. And he kind of kept the recording of it fairly true to the original recording Kiss did, where it's not quite the full stereo effect. It's kind of more mono and down keyed. Did a solid job with it, but it belongs to Kiss.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. Both of these songs really belong to Kiss.
He does them justice, but...
Yeah, and of course he's going to, because he wrote them.
Yeah.
He understands how they're supposed to be played.
And sung.
Yeah. But the problem is, they fit more in... Especially War Machine fits more with Gene Simmons.
Persona,
yeah,
and
his
voice,
stage persona.
vocals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryan Adams ruined himself forever with that stupid ass Robin Hood ballad.
Yeah.
So how am I supposed to believe him
how can
singing
we take
War
it
Machine?
seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this goes back to the original writers covering their songs that they wrote for other people. It's just like if you want to go way back in the day to Neil Diamond playing Daydream Believer, where it doesn't have the same catch that the Monkees put on it.
Right. Right. Davy Jones, his vocals, a little more innocence.
Yeah.
Gave the song a little bit more of that innocent heft that it needed. You know, whereas Neil Diamond, a little bit rougher around the edges with his songs.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yep. I will give War Machine. I'll go 2.5. 2.5 frenzies, right in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, if you've never listened to War Machine by Kiss, and you're a big Bryan Adams fan, go ahead and listen to this.
You're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't understand the background, the history of the song.
But, yeah, it's a good 2.5.
All right, next week in music, one of these bands that Dave and I love to nurture and cradle and say, this is our band, leave it alone. We want you to be popular, but really, no. We want this to be our dirty little secret. Like Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers, like the Black Moods, and now the Cold Stares, which Dave, of course, brought it into the fold here. Their new album.
Spotify recommendation.
Yep, and their new album, The Southern. We will have that for you next week in our music segment.
Yes, looking forward to that.
All right, a little bit of TV and streaming before we get into our big movie review, because I think that's going to take a little bit of time. So let's knock this out.
Yep, no books this week. Actually, no, I do have a book this week. I finished it up this morning.
Well, we'll do that after TV.
So there we go.
Got some bad news for you.
There's always bad news.
Netflix has screwed us again.
Yeah, I know.
We will not get a second season of Dead Boy Detectives.
Why can this series not take off?
Yeah, Dead Boy Detectives will not be coming back for a second season on Netflix, of course. This was a reclamation project that was originally supposed to be on Max before they decided, we're not going to do any DC shows anymore.
Yeah, so Netflix picked it up. Season 1, very good.
Oh, fantastic, yeah.
I will say one thing. At least we didn't get a left-right situation. The show ended with no cliffhanger.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Wrestling. Let's talk wrestling.
Wrestling.
Yes, it's time for the Maestro's monthly wrestling recap. Our premium live event for this month is Bash in Berlin. Pretty much a snoozer.
Nothing.
You had one set of belts change hands Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill got back the women's tag team belts. This was a very, very subpar, disappointing premium live event, as they like to call it. But what I will point out, of course, we got this transition period coming up where SmackDown is moving here in a couple weeks to the USA Network. Raw at the end of the year is moving to Netflix.
That's going to be interesting.
NXT is moving to the CW in a couple weeks. But Raw the last couple weeks has been better than any pay-per-view or any premium live event. Last week, two mammoth 300-pounders going at it, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. And this is one of the fights that they took out into the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
And again, keep in mind, we're talking about 300-pound men. At one point, Braun Strowman is on the top of a car, laid out. Bronson Reed gets up on a brick wall above him, jumps off the brick wall.
Oh, my God.
You can say wrestling is fake all you want, but that shit has to hurt.
Yeah.
Blows out the windows in the car.
Oh, my God.
And funny thing is, this week on Raw, Bronson Reed was supposed to take part in a qualifying match for the Intercontinental Championship, could not participate because he was not medically cleared after that body slam on the top of a car onto Braun Strowman. Then this week, the feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre keeps going, and I love this.
Ratchet it up a notch?
Yes, because everything was going for the last couple months around this stupid little bracelet that CM Punk had. Little kid's bracelet because it had his wife's name in it. You know, the beads. The beads had his wife's name, and then on the other side, it had his dog's name. And Drew McIntyre took it at one point.
No.
And so they had a big strap match in Berlin, which CM Punk won. He got the bracelet back. So he's talking about it at Raw this week, moving on, and he wants to take on Gunther now. He wants his belt. He wants his World Heavyweight Championship shot.
Yeah.
Problem is, Drew McIntyre ain't done with you, bitch. Drew comes out, beats him to hell, takes the bracelet back off, rips it apart.
Oh, beads everywhere.
No. He got the beads in his hand, shoved him down CM Punk's throat.
Oh, God.
So then the next thing we see is CM Punk's getting hauled out to an ambulance, bleeding from the mouth. And McIntyre still proceeds to attack him while he's on a gurney.
You can't write this, kids. Oh, no, wait. Yes, you can.
But if you write it well like this, it's fun.
There you go.
We all know that's fake, but still, come on. Ripping the bracelet apart, shoving the beads down his throat.
That's a nice touch. That's a nice touch.
This has got to be leading to some kind of a Hell in a Cell type match.
It's got to.
But this has been a very, very good grudge match they've got going here. So the next pay-per-view doesn't happen until early October. Bad Blood is the next one up. So,
well, this would be a prime match for that.
Yeah. Yep. We also, since Netflix is taking over Raw in January, I told you about this one, a little bit of background on this. Netflix had this documentary in the works for quite a while about Vince McMahon.
Yes.
The series is called Mr. McMahon, a 6-part docu-series coming to Netflix September the 25th. The interesting thing about this is they did this without the consent of the WWE, and now the WWE is kind of saying, all right, go ahead and air it. We're not real happy about it, but go ahead. So warts and all, going all the way up until and through all the sexual harassment stuff we've heard about over the last few years. Now, the interviews they have in this with Mr. McMahon
Are all pre-recorded.
Well, it's before that. They don't have anything after the fact.
Right.
So it's not like they've got any new footage. This is all old footage.
Stock.
Right. But it's a 6-part documentary. We will see. We will see what kind of light they paint Vince McMahon in. I'll definitely be watching this.
I may check out an episode or two. See if I get sucked in.
And then, of course, next week, I will start my review. I don't know if I'll be done with it yet, but Terminator Zero on Netflix. The anime, Japanese take on the Terminator. I checked out a couple minutes of it. I'm loving the animation, hating the subtitles.
Well, yeah.
Because, again, I don't need... The dialogue's fine. Give me the subtitles on the dialogue. I don't need tense music playing.
Eerie music playing.
Yeah. Character gasps.
Creaking door.
Yeah. That shit I don't need. That's too much. And I'm sure there's some tech geek out there going, you can turn part of it off. You can hack your Fire Stick. I can tell you how.
And then ruin everything.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so before we get to your book review, I will be very careful in my review of That 90s Show Part 3, or as we like to call it, Season 2, Part 2. Because I know you're dealing with some obstacles where you can't watch it yet. I will say this. What I told you last week still stands. Very, very good. Very funny. I think Red and Kitty actually get better in Part 3 as it goes along, get funnier. But Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes serve no purpose in this, other than the occasional, oh, look, it's Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. They are not funny. They should not be in this. They really don't serve any purpose in this.
That's sad.
Yeah. Everything else, though, is great. They bring back, they focus more, even though we don't get the special guest appearances like we got in Season 1.
Yeah.
We get a lot more of the few that we have. Bob Pinciotti, of course.
Yeah.
Don Stark is in this a lot. And then Donna, Laura Prepon, who directs a ton of these episodes, is back as well. And so you mentioned earlier about the left or right.
Yeah.
The Terrier situation that we always reference.
They left us with one.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. Not a major one, but still. Here's my issue. Now, my rating for this, a weak 3.5. I know I'm biased because I love that 70s show. I think it's one of the funniest shows ever made. And this show captures most of that spirit, even though you got new actors, new kids.
But it's Red and Kitty. Come on.
Yeah, but they do such an awesome job with the new kids as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're almost as funny as the original. Nobody's ever been as funny as Kelso. But
well, there is that.
But otherwise, they do a great job. I just wonder. Number one, the budget on this can't be that much.
No.
They're not paying. They're not paying Topher Grace. They're not paying Mila Kunis. They're not paying Ashton Kutcher. So why can't Netflix bring this back again? Maybe Dead Boy Detectives with all the special effects was a little more expensive.
That might have been a little pricey. Fine, dump the money back into that 90s show.
But I am just worried that they're not going to bring this back.
It's got that feel.
Yeah. Because I have not heard anything about ratings in terms of the ratings being great. Usually they will brag about, oh, it's in the top 10 in Netflix's TV shows for the week. And that was a big problem they had with Dead Boy Detectives, was, I think they said it only made the top 10 twice, which for them is not good enough. So if they fucking do this to us,
you're hosed again.
I will not be happy. Bring it back for 8 more goddamn episodes. Wrap things up.
Come on, don't
give us some closure.
Don't terrier us.
The show can't cost that much to produce.
No, it can't.
You've got how many sets? You've got the foreman's driveway, the foreman's kitchen,
the foreman's
basement,
living room,
and the living room. And then what? The Pinciotti house.
Yeah.
The kitchen and the Pinciotti house. That's in the water tower. That's it.
Come on.
You can do this. And again, who are you paying a ton of money to on the cast? Nobody. Nobody.
No.
Bring the goddamn show back. You took away Agent Elvis.
Yeah.
You took away Dead Boy Detectives. Don't take away that 90s show, you bastards.
I know, even with Agent Elvis, we had a cliffhanger.
Yeah. And Agent Elvis was awesome.
It was so damn funny.
Awesome.
It was fan-freaking-tastic.
And this should tell you, quality does not matter.
No. Nope. It's all about the rating.
Oh, but Suits. Ooh, Suits came back, and it's so wonderful and doing because of Meghan Markle. Fuck Meghan Markle. Literally, figuratively, 6 ways to Sunday, twice on Tuesday. Put a crown on her head. I don't care. I want that 90s show back.
Suits wasn't good when it first came out.
And I told you, I'm so tired of those 2 idiots in T-Mobile commercials. All right, Dave, what's our book review this week?
I have Archangel, the latest Sigma Force novel from James Rollins. This one starts with the aftermath of the Sigma headquarters under the castle of the National Museum having been bombed. And so they're trying to figure out who was behind it. And it was one of the characters who was in the guild, who was the evil part that Sigma always battled. She's now with Sigma, engaged to Commander Gray Pierce. So Seishin, don't know how her name's pronounced, but her nemesis, who she trained with, was behind it. And Valya's got a vendetta against Sigma because in an operation, her brother was killed and she blames them for his death. So they're tracking why it happened, and this tale revolves around the Golden Library that was lost to history, and Russia's attempt to find Hyperborea, a legendary Atlantis of the Arctic, to try and lay claim. Russia wants to be all-powerful in the Arctic, and Sigma has to thwart the plans to prevent nuclear war and all that other good stuff. Of course, unbelievable stuff going on. You know how these action-adventure books are. But again, James Rollins does not disappoint. Pacing is very good, balancing the different storylines coming together for the ultimate showdown and what transpires. And even the epilogue is not bad. It's what things have built up over the last few books. So, not to give anything away, if you've read these, you'll enjoy this one. It's a weak 3.5.
That's still a pretty high rating.
But no, these are good. They're fun reads. Suspend disbelief on stuff. Just roll with it.
And of course, we talked about they are working on a Sigma Force series.
Yes, so we'll see how that goes. I'm very curious how they're going to cast it.
Yeah, I have not seen any word on the
No,
casting.
I looked and there's nothing. Just that it's in development.
Yep.
So.
That's another series.
And this is one where there's going to be a huge special effects budget with all the stuff that they need to do.
Yeah, and this is another series that I wish I had time to read that I obviously don't, among dozens of others.
Yeah.
All right, before I forget, we move on to movies. I have got 2 pop culture badasses of the week. Clint Eastwood badasses of the week. One I keep missing and skipping, so it's like a month old, but god damn it, I finally remembered. I'm going to put this in here, and then I've got one that's brand new.
All right.
Let's start with the new one. Of course, you and I have talked about this. We don't get it. This whole phenomenon with Beetlejuice. And now they're talking about $100 million opening weekend, which blows my fucking mind. I don't remember the first one being all that great.
It wasn't all that
and
great.
considering the long gap between the first one and now the second one.
There cannot be that big a cult following for it.
Plus, I've heard that Michael Keaton's not even in it that much.
Yeah, bare bones.
Yeah, no pun intended.
But
But yeah, they're projecting $100 million opening weekend, domestic gross total somewhere in the 250 to 270 region.
God, please no. God, please no.
What did we miss on this?
I have no idea.
You're not bringing back Alec Baldwin. You're not bringing back Gina Davis. Anyway, I digress. I just want to talk about the Beetlejuice phenomenon for a minute.
Yeah, I don't get it. It wasn't all that.
I guess this is a look back at nostalgia when things were better, like with Top Gun Maverick. I don't understand how Top Gun Maverick was such a huge hit, but it was okay.
It was all right.
It was a decent movie. Twisters doesn't shock me as much because it's far enough removed from the original that a new generation can look at it, and the special effects are good. And,
yeah,
you know.
But Beetlejuice wasn't all that back in the day.
Anyway, Jenna Ortega stars in this. Of course, she stars in Wednesday on Netflix.
So
hot young actress.
There's your big appeal.
But I will give her credit, even though I don't agree with her politics. She and Melissa Barrera from Scream both dropped out of that project because at the time the whole anti-Israel stuff was going on, even though it's still going on. Oh man, that Melissa Barrera's fucking hot. God. I'm just thinking back to Abigail. Oh man, that woman is good looking. It just sucks that she's got like a black heart. But Jenna Ortega, okay. I've seen her in stuff. She's good. I've seen her in stuff. I don't care. I will give her credit, though. She is one of my Clint Eastwood badasses of the week because she might actually understand people like Dave and I. She was approached in one of these press junkets, I guess, for Beetlejuice, about taking roles that were originally meant for men and maybe doing a gender swap, a gender twist on them, and they brought up James Bond. And she said, I'm paraphrasing, but I give her credit, she says, no way. Nobody wants to see Jamie Bond. It should be a guy. It should not be a woman. Maybe somebody in the younger generation in Hollywood
actually
understands and gets it. So kudos to her.
Good for her.
For having the guts to say that. Because I'm sure a lot of people in Hollywood will shame her.
How could you?
Yes.
Misogynistic views, why are...
James Bond should be a gay, black trans person.
No.
By the way, have you noticed Daniel Craig is doing a lot of movies lately where he's a gay guy? I'm worried about him.
He's being typecast. He's still married to Rachel Weisz.
Is that like a beard situation going on there?
I have no clue.
Because Benoit Blanc is gay, as we now know from The Glass Onion, and now he's in this big festival movie called Queer.
I don't know.
See, I don't know what's going on in Hollywood.
I have no idea.
This worries me.
Hollywood's weird.
I'm just worried about Rachel Weisz. If she needs comforting.
I'm there.
Why you? Why not me? You're married.
Because she's been at the top of my pass list since The Mummy.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes.
Just like Daniel Craig is at the top of Jen's pass list.
Ooh. Woo.
There
you want to borrow my pineapple shirt? Sounds like we got a key party going on here between the Heights and the Craigs.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I will know. I would never do that to you. No. If that she's on your list.
Yep.
And I'm thinking you got a shot now. That's the thing. I'm worried about Daniel Craig. I am really worried about Daniel Craig right now. All right. The other badass, this is the one I've been holding on to for a month. And of course it involves the great state of California, which we love, right?
We were promised that it was going to fall off the earth in a the ultimate earthquake, the cataclysmic. That's where I was going.
Well, Dave and I love racing. If you listen to Sports Frenzy, the sports edition, you would know this. So, near and dear to our heart, one of the big sponsors of one of the NASCAR series is Camping World.
Yep.
Well, about a month ago, Camping World CEO Marcus Lemonis. I love that name. It's like a Roman emperor.
It does have
Marcus Lemonis. Marcus Lemonis wanted a huge, monstrous, massive American flag out in front of one of their big Camping World facilities in California. And they were told, no, it's too big. Take it down.
Screw you, California.
So he went back and forth, got fined, I guess, as they told him, take it down, take it down. He finally said, the hell with you! We're putting the flag back up, and he reinstalled it, and to my understanding, it has been up ever since.
Good for him. Good for him.
So Emperor Marcus Lemonis is my other Clint Eastwood pop culture badass of the week. All right, couple little movie tidbits before we get into our big movie review. I'm very interested to see what Dave thinks. This is one of those situations, again, where we don't compare notes. We do this off the cuff to get honest reactions. But first, I don't know if I care about this series anymore because the last movie really sucked. But the new Jurassic World movie coming out July the 2nd, 2025 will be called Jurassic World Rebirth.
It's got Scarlett Johansson.
Is she on your list too?
No, she's pretty.
Well, the way you were talking, I
thought that was the hook for you.
How many you got on list? 5 on your list? How many you got?
Don't even remember.
Usually it's 5. Usually it's 5. Yeah. Why is that? When have I ever said I lusted after Scarlett Johansson? I just told you I lust after Melissa Barrera. She's got those eyes. She's got those come hither eyes, and she's got a rockin' body. Scarlett Johansson, okay, she's screwing and married to, what, the idiot from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, that's
a takes her
big
down about
negative.
5 notches.
Yeah.
Black Dumb Widow. Anyway, so if you care, the official title, and a couple still shots featuring Scarlett Johansson, not in tight black leather.
Nope.
Fanboys. Rebirth, coming next summer. But again, this is another series. They should have taken about 7 or 8 years off before they came back to this.
Yeah, we didn't.
We know greed is good. Greed is king in Hollywood, but
no, just stop.
And the thing I get that insults me as a movie fan, because I love the first Jurassic Park. It is one of those magical. Steven Spielberg, he proved to me in that movie he is a magician. He can make movie magic. He can make you feel unbelievable. That movie was so wonderful and so fantastic.
It was a great adaptation.
The scene with the water cup in the Jeep. Yeah, and you see, that is top level, top shelf filmmaking at its best. Second one, I read the book. I liked it more than most people. Third one was a waste, and then I thought they'd be done. But now they're calling these Jurassic World. What happened to Jurassic Park? Why have we now dismissed Jurassic Park, and now it's all Jurassic World?
Jurassic Park rights are Crichton's.
Do you think that's it?
And the first one were based fully on his.
Not the third one.
No, that was kind of...
The first two were. He wrote the books for the first two.
Yeah, and I think he had some involvement with the third, I thought.
So you think the fact they've shifted over to Jurassic World is actually a way to avoid paying his estate money?
Or as much as they could.
Huh. Interesting.
That's my theory on it.
Yeah, I'm not dismissing that. These bastards will do anything not to...
But also, Jurassic Park took place on the island. Jurassic World now is moving off the island and going broader.
Right.
So there's that. I think that's more the reason.
I would have liked to have seen them start a new one. Because you had 3 Jurassic Park movies. And then you had 3 Jurassic... What about Jurassic Universe? Put them out in space.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's go to space like we did with the Fast and the Furious.
I was going to say...
Dinosaurs on the moon?
No, Jason. Remember Jason went to space? Jason Voorhees fighting a velociraptor. Why do we have to run everything, Dave? I don't get it. And then I know you don't care about this because you're behind on this one. But they have released the trailer for Season 5, Part 2, Yellowstone. And then, of course, what was it, last week we talked about the fact they're going to probably continue it anyway.
Yeah.
With Beth Dutton and Rip.
Yeah, that's who you want there.
Yeah, it's Rip 1, too.
And then...
This is why you should never shift positions when you're recording a podcast, kids.
So, and then you got September 19th, The Penguin.
Yes, that's why I'm keeping HBO Max, even though we have watched Furiosa, we have watched Horizon, we have watched Hard Knocks, but I had this all planned out in my head. I knew that Penguin was coming up next, so we're just a few weeks away from that.
Forward to.
Yep. And then, of course, sticking with HBO Max, next week, featured movie review will be The Watchers. M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Nepo Baby, getting her shot at directing a big-time Hollywood flick that failed miserably.
Yeah, so there we
basically,
go.
I think we're going with this one because after these long movies we've been watching, 3 hours with Horizon, 2.5 with Furiosa, almost 2.5 with the Fall Guy Extended Edition.
Let's go with an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's what I'm... Football's back, baby!
That's right.
I have got a limited window.
There's
to watch
principalities
movies
involved here.
So that, of course, will lead us into our featured review, one we've been waiting to discuss for months and months, The Fall Guy. All right, so now it is time for our big movie review. We've had a lot of them here recently.
Bum, 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 bum.
We've had Deadpool and Wolverine. We have had Furiosa. We have had Horizon Part 1. Now, it is The Fall Guy. A loose, very, very loose reimagining of the classic TV show starring Lee Majors. Of course, the movie version stars Ryan Gosling, who is awesome beyond belief.
Fantastic.
Just check out The Nice Guys.
And you had a
Drive.
You had a cool little Nice Guys homage in the one scene where he sees the body, faints as he pulls down the shower curtain.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling's characters cannot handle seeing dead bodies very well.
No.
Now, this is the extended cut we're reviewing on Peacock. I would be interested to watch the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I'd like to see what was added in.
Yeah. I will say this. I enjoyed The Fall Guy. I will watch it again. But I have to admit, maybe because my expectations were too high, I was a little disappointed.
There were bits and pieces where I was.
It gets too cutesy.
Yes.
A lot of times throughout this movie. It gets way too cutesy. It doesn't have a hard enough edge. A little too much of the whole, are they going to get together?
Will
Are they
they
not
or
going to
won't
get
they?
together? And that's fun. I love Emily Blunt. She's in my top 5. So I'm good with as much screen time as they want to give her. But
there was too much of the doofus actor in some areas. His monologue got to be a little
I had read, now it got pretty good reviews, but I had read that there was just unbelievable chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. I didn't get that at all.
I didn't see a remarkable chemistry between them.
No, I didn't get that at all.
There was not that vibe.
Again, it tries to be too cutesy with their dialogue when they're together, whether they're sitting in a car or truck together, and it just seems too manufactured, too forced.
Yes, thank you. Too forced is the...
But now, you take that out of it, and you just go with the action and the basic plot, and it's a basic plot. There's nothing really shocking about the plot, but...
No, but it's a fun ride.
Yes.
The effects are great. The stunts are very well done.
As you would hope.
Yeah. And you had a couple of little homages to the original show. You had the truck, which was great to see.
Yep. And of course, you got to stick around through the credits.
Yep. Had to stick around for Lee Major's little cameo.
Oh, you spoiled it.
You knew it was coming.
No. At this point, I don't think they're spoilers anymore because the movie's been out for, 4 months?
Yeah. So, the one thing I was disappointed is the unknown stuntman. They did not play Lee Major's version.
Nope. The minute they started playing it, I was like, Dave's going to be pissed. I knew it. I was like, Dave's going to be pissed because this is not Lee Major's. Blake Shelton.
Yep. Nope. It should have been the Lee Major's version. That would have completed it. But alas.
Yep. Again, I had too high of hopes for this. I blame myself for this. And maybe it was because of the pedigree. Again, you've got classic TV show that we loved. You've got the director of Bullet Train, which was phenomenal.
Brilliant.
Beyond belief. Then you've got Ryan Gosling, who is awesome. And I read somewhere where somebody said, well, he's not an actor that guys like. Only women like him.
What bullshit?
Like, Ryan Gosling's awesome, man.
He is fantastic. The Gray Man.
Yeah, The Gray Man, Drive, The Nice Guys. Guys love Ryan Gosling.
Right? Yes.
He's actually unbelievably relatable in how goofy and awkward he can be. So I don't know where they got that from.
That's just false.
Yeah. How about Channing Tatum? There's
That
a
is
guy.
an overrated.
There's a guy that guys can't relate to.
Yeah. No.
But again, a little bit forced manufactured in the dialogue between the two, Blunt and Gosling. Again, the stunts were great. The action was great. Didn't have a problem with all of that. I still, again, want to see the original theatrical cut. Maybe I'll feel better with some of these other scenes chopped out.
Potentially.
Depending on what they chopped out.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a solid 3 Frenzies.
I'm right there with you. The boys asked me after, what are you giving it? And I said, it's a solid 3.
Yeah.
And they concurred.
Yeah. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's got a couple good lines.
Yep.
And like you mentioned...
Jean-Claude.
Yes. The dog.
The dog. Oh my God, I love Jean-Claude.
Yes. Yes, Jean-Claude was awesome beyond belief. You love it when you got a great dog in a movie.
Yep. No, there were some really cool stunts in there.
Yep.
That you could appreciate, and yeah, the way Gosling plays his characters, they're like you said, they're relatable. He's not. He's gonna get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
More often than not.
He's a good-looking dude. We get that. But the thing is, he still seems like the kind of guy you could have a beer with.
Yeah.
Yep,
doesn't take himself too seriously.
Right. And of course, for me, personally, the references to the Miami Vice stunt show were just ridiculous. Absolutely phenomenal. And of course, they basically reenacted it at one point.
Yeah.
To cover up his death.
Oh.
I want the jacket! Give me the jacket! What happened to the jacket?
The jacket was cool.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. I expected more, though. I really thought this was going to be up there with Bullet Train. Because Bullet Train was a 4 Frenzy movie.
Yes, it was. But, yeah, maybe had too high expectation. I didn't. So maybe temper it a little bit, but we're still both right there at the same rating.
Yeah.
And I told the boys after the car jump there at the end, I said, you want to see a good car jump, you gotta watch Hooper.
And then, of course, interesting parallels here. As I mentioned earlier, you've got the same director from Bullet Train here doing The Fall Guy. You, of course, I can't believe I liked the movie more with Brad Pitt than I did with Ryan Gosling, but Aaron Taylor Johnson is in both.
Yes, he is.
Now, in this one, he's not given a lot to do. He's really not.
No, it's very, very minor.
Yeah. But it's still enjoyable. It's still very...
I think I'm
beginning to
watch it again.
I think I'm beginning to understand more why it wasn't the massive hit that people were expecting a few months before it was released.
Yeah. It wasn't quite...
Yeah.
There were issues.
Yeah. So again, sorry to report, not as great as I was hoping, but...
You know what it was?
Still
is
enjoyable.
It focused too much on the love story part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it got to be a bit much. It did get to be a bit much. The only time it worked for me was I was really rooting for him after he was in that dumpster that was spinning around and
trying to get to the karaoke bar.
I was like, he's got to get to the karaoke. Come on, man.
Come on.
He's got to get to the karaoke in time. Do you notice, by the way, the woman when he showed up that was singing? Wow, she was hot. She was hot. There are a lot of hot women in this movie.
They understated her, too.
Yes. Yeah. And she was supposedly the tech geek who was going to save the day. Well, I need 3-4 days to hack into that phone. I don't have 3 or 4 days.
Oh, you're screwed.
Yeah. So, I will watch it again.
Yeah.
Especially to watch the regular cut, just to compare. Compare and contrast.
It's what we do.
All right, one big moment of silence for us. Maybe a lot of you will probably go, who? But you got to understand, when we grew up, some of these actors and actresses, the roles they played, the shows they were in, were very important to us. And that's why James Darren passing away is a big loss, because now people 15 years older than us go, oh, Gidget!
Yeah.
But for us, Guns of Navarone, T.J. Hooker.
Yep.
And then for me, The Time Tunnel. He starred in the one-year sci-fi TV series, The Time Tunnel, which I've got buried here in my library, which Dave promises me
I will take care of.
Yes, he will. When I die, he will take all my stuff, poach what he wants, and donate the rest to a museum devoted to me in my great taste in books, movies, and music. But he's allowed to poach. He's the only person who's allowed to poach.
And there are things.
But, yeah, and I thought, when I saw Guns of Navarone, I thought you'd be like, oh, man.
Yeah.
That's like a classic in your eyes.
It is. It is one of those classic war movies. So,
all right.
That's one I actually have to finish watching with Nick. We started it.
Guns of Navarone?
Yeah, but it was late. It's a long movie. And Nick started to fade out, and he's like, all right, we'll have to finish it up, and we haven't gotten back to it.
All right, so what do we do now, Dave?
Now it's time to pivot.
All right. Only 4. I told you I was going to take it easy on you this week.
That's good.
So you can get some sleep tonight.
After the friggin' sports where we had 8.
Now, here's what's going to be interesting about these 4, though. No connection whatsoever to Hollywood, movies, TV. These are all just out there in the world, goofy type of stuff that happens to everyday people. All right?
All right.
So we're not going to bash Hollywood. Change. We're not going to do any of that. It's just random stupidity out there.
All right.
We start off in San Diego, California, of course.
Of course,
you love California.
You'd love to see it fall off the face of the earth.
There's a wonderful guy who in San Diego has a truck, runs a business out of a truck. You know, these guys that run parties, you know, clowns.
Yeah.
And, you know, magicians. This guy's kind of like one of those guys. He's called the Bubble Man. So the Bubble Man has one of those big
bubble wands.
Right, he's got a bunch of them. And he makes these big, massive bubble shapes in the air for the kids, and the kids love it. And so he will stop by the parks, or he will go to parties and do this. California says no more, or at least they're going to start charging him. He was ticketed recently by San Diego Park Rangers.
Because he didn't have a permit.
No.
Performer's license?
Worse. No, had nothing to do with it. He's got all the right clearance. All that good stuff. No, it's because he was doing his bubbles. The park rangers ticketed him for liquid littering.
Oh, come on!
Because they're claiming that when his bubbles pop and the residue falls on the grass in the parks, it's killing the grass.
Bullshit!
So he is now...
Oh my God.
Got to be very, very careful where he does his bubbles.
That is bullshit. But that's California for you.
Now let's move over to Arizona.
Oh, California's neighbor. Caught between California and Mexico. What a shit show.
In Arizona, a guy, again, trying to just do the right thing. Not entertaining people, but he lives in this neighborhood, works out of his garage, and it's Arizona, so it's hot.
Yeah, you need to stay hydrated.
So he has a big cooler, one of those big coolers with the handles and the flip top, fills it up with water every day. Little sign on a stake, maybe 5 feet high. Free water, stop and get some. So this way he helps out his neighbors, and he gets to meet his neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like a social thing. Now he pays for it, but he gets donations, and then sometimes people, on occasion, will drop off pallets of water for him because they appreciate what he's doing. Oh!
But wait.
There's a homeowners association involved, Dave. And they have started...
on HOAs.
They have started fining this fine young gentleman, well, middle-aged, maybe old, saying that, number one, the cooler and the sign don't match the house.
What the fuck does that got to do with anything?
So therefore, it's an illegal freestanding structure.
It's not a freestanding structure. It's a fucking cooler and a sign.
But again, this is a homeowners association, so...
Death to homeowners associations.
They've got him by the balls. I believe he's been fined $100 a month all this summer.
HOAs are bullshit.
Yeah, because the cooler doesn't match the house.
So damn dumb.
So it's an illegal freestanding structure. It's not even like a stand, like a kid.
It's not a structure.
We've
it's
heard
a fucking cooler.
We've heard these stories from other places where the kids can't even sell lemonade anymore.
Yeah.
Because somebody rats them out.
Oh, it's unhygienic.
They didn't get a permit.
Shut up, Karen.
All right, now we go to Louisville. Let's go to Louisville now. So we're away from Mexico. We're away from the West Coast. Let's go to Mexico. Well, no. Let's go to Louisville. Away from Mexico.
Let's go down Kentucky way.
Dave, if you piss somebody off, and God knows I've pissed a lot of people off, what's the worst thing somebody could do to you to get back at you? What could they do?
A lot of different things.
Okay. Well, this poor person who owns his house in Louisville doesn't know what they did to upset this particular person, but they have been the victim of a serial porch pooper.
Oh, God.
At least 3 times, if not more. Of course, they got the Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
Some dude is dropping trowel and dropping a Cleveland steamer on their front porch.
Come on.
And they still haven't caught the guy yet. Again, despite the fact there's a Ring doorbell there recording this. And the guy said he thought he caught him once. Just missed him. I thought I smelled something out there.
Come on. That's not even original.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
Especially because the guy says, I don't know for sure, but the guy says, I don't know what I did to piss this dude off.
Some people are just nuts.
And I've got one person I'm very, very mad at right now, and I don't think I would do that.
No.
All right, finally, we're going out to sea, Dave. We're going out on a Navy destroyer. We are going out on a Navy destroyer for our final potential dumbass of the week. Now, I respect the military. So, in deference to my respect for the military, I will not name this commander. This man used to be the commander of the USS John McClane, a Navy destroyer.
Yep.
He was recently relieved of his duty as the commander of the USS John McClane. Now, the official military line was lack of faith, lack of confidence in his ability to command. But a lot of people are pointing to a specific picture that has been posted on Instagram and actually made its way into Stars and Stripes magazine. This man, as the caption was bragging about how he's military, guy, inspecting his guns and aiming out at the horizon for enemies, whatever it might be. Problem is, the picture, he had the rifle scope on backwards.
Oh!
And many people on Instagram and in social media pointed this out, and then I guess the Marines actually posted a picture. Didn't necessarily refer to this one, but a picture of somebody in a similar pose with the scope on the right way. But yeah, so
Ooh.
This commander has been relieved of duty, but a lot of people are blaming this picture with him and his rifle and the scope on backwards. So
that's inexcusable.
I posed to you, Dave, the 4 potential dumbasses of the week.
Oh,
The San Diego Park Rangers who ticketed the Bubble Man for liquid littering. The Homeowners Association in Arizona for fining the couple for their free water stand outside their garage. The Louisville porch pooper, or the commander of the USS John McClane for allowing a picture to be taken of him brandishing a rifle with a backwards rifle scope.
I'm going with the San Diego Parks Department.
You don't like them picking on the Bubble Man?
No, that's absolute bullshit. I know HOAs are assholes about anything and everything. It's a fact. Shit happens in the military that, not surprised, the guy probably never handled a rifle before in his life, being a Navy guy.
No.
And the porch pooper's just sad. And it's California. They're stupid anyway, so they are the ultimate dumbasses by default.
See, I would probably have to, even though I agree with you that we should expect this crap from homeowners associations, I can't go. I fucking hate HOAs to the point where these idiots.
I refuse to look at houses if they were in an area that had an HOA.
I mean, overbearing, unbelievably ridiculous people who've got nothing better to do because they have such pathetic, shallow lives that they have to exert the one little bit of power and influence they get in their lives on something like this.
Yeah, that both are equally bad.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for the weekend edition. As we mentioned, next week, the Cold Stares, the Watchers.
And whatever the hell else we come up with.
Yeah, Terminator 0 maybe. Partial review, depending on how far I get into that. But again, it's football season, so who the hell knows what we're going to have time for.
That's right.
But we'll have something for you.
We got football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
But that's okay, because we've got music covered for the next few weeks, because after our review of the Cold Stares, the Southern, we've got 2 weeks straight after that of concert reviews.
Yep.
So
we'll be good.
Yep. We're good. We'll find a way to watch a movie for you. TV shows will pop up when they pop up.
Yeah, new seasons aren't starting till mid-October. How fucking dumb is that?
No, you know what I did see though? That one show, even though it doesn't look nearly as good as I was hoping, The one that I told you was made by the producers of Animal Kingdom.
Right.
Hawaii Rescue High Surf.
Yeah, high surf.
That starts at the end of September.
Okay. Yeah, but
it doesn't look like it has the edge.
It's the week after Labor Day is when the new season should begin.
Right. And then they go straight through. They take a week off for Thanksgiving.
And then they
a
go
couple weeks
up to
mid-December. And they come back in mid-January. Right?
Yeah, that's what we used to have.
Because anywhere between 23 and 26 episodes.
Yeah, now you get 13 to 18 if you're lucky.
Yeah. And they run through the summer. Summer was sacred ground. Summer was sacred territory.
Summer was...
The kids went outside. The kids played. They didn't have any need for sports. They'd come back in the afternoon and they'd watch a baseball game. They'd watch the White Sox. They'd watch the Cubs.
Or they'd watch whatever cartoons were on late.
Right. But now, yeah, we just spread everything out all over the place. And
it's bullshit.
Whenever we're ready to show it to you, we're going to put it on.
Don't like it.
No. Don't like it at all. But we will work around football season, kids.
Because that's what we do on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, CastBox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio. Glad you got that in before we wrap things up. Very good on your part. Very, very good on your part.
Once in a while.
That's your Uncle Dave.
That's your Uncle Kev.
And to the thousands listening at home, and to the millions listening around the world, say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.
You didn't do it. You were going to mimic me.
No, it's got to be after that.
What? See, this is
We'll discuss
this is what I get, kids. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.